Hey guys, welcome to the channel. My name is Ovi Stoica and today I want to talk about Remix and why it's my favorite React framework. For some context, I've been programming professionally for 6 years now and I've used all the tools like React, Vue.js, Next.js, Gatsby, pretty much all of them, I've used them. Alright, so what is Remix? Remix is a edge first client-server model. It's more similar to Next.js but a bit different. It's edge first. What does that mean? That means you're gonna deploy all your servers very close to your users so that they benefit from fast loading speeds on almost all of your pages. Okay, so let's talk about the team. The team behind Remix, the core team, is comprised of Ryan Florence and Michael Jackson. They are the creators of React Router or React Router DOM. React Router is the most popular routing framework for React and especially in applications using Create React App. They were later joined by Kenzie Dodds, who is the creator of Testing Library, which is a very popular UI testing framework for React. And it later branched out into Vue and React Native. When they first released Remix, it costed $250 for a license and it was closed beta, but later they released it to the public and now it's free to use pretty much. I think later down the line they're gonna introduce some pro features. I think that this will be the model. This is just my guess, but this model worked for other open source systems and yeah, they have a pretty cool team behind it and the community is great. Now let's talk about nested routes. So nested routes is this feature of Remix which I think it's really awesome. So it lets you scope data fetching and error handling inside one component. So let's look at the example. So this is the root of an application, example.com, where you can dictate the CSS or the styling for the basic application. This usually is done with a layout component, which is put as a parent for every route in a Next.js or classic application. And then you have the sales route, which is rendered inside the root, but it has its own scoping of data and inside stuff. So inside the sales component, you have other routes like overview, subscriptions, customers. And now let's look at an example. So this is the Indie Hacker stack, which is pretty much a bunch of pre-made choices made for them. They have 3 main stacks, and this is one of them. This is for MVPs and dynamic websites, just to test stuff out. And it comes with a note-taking app. So if we look at it, here's how it looks when you go in. I logged in already, so this is how it looks. I have some notes. I can delete this note and I can create a new note. Hello. And save it. Boom, and it's saved. And this is, by the way, this is saved in a DB. Okay, now let's look at how this is made. So we have the root, which is pretty much your HTML component. Usually this is the layout component everybody sees, where you put like your SEO, your links, scripts, and everything like that. And the outlet component is important. This is, you can call it a placeholder for all of the routes that are gonna be rendered inside the body. So pretty much the root of the application, if we go here, this is just the body component. That's it at this point. Okay, now let's go to our routes and we can go to notes, which is the default one. And so it's gonna be, let's see here. So this is notes, and it's pretty much this sidebar with all of our notes to be selected, and the title is displayed, and this, we're gonna talk about this, and like the nav bar. So as you can see, here is the header, which is the nav bar, is the logout and email, logout, email, and this. And then in the main, which is flex, we're gonna see this div, which pretty much has the sidebar which maps over the notes. And then we're gonna have another outlet, which this says, okay, this is a placeholder for other stuff you wanna render in this scope. So if we look here and we go here, you see this is the header and this is the main, and this is in the notes route. But then this is handled by another route, by another sub route. You see, because you don't see an outlet component or something like that. And it says whatever is gonna be rendered here, go here. So then Remix goes and says notes. This is the root of notes, and then we can go into the folder. And the first place it visits, because it needs something to render in the outlet. It's gonna go to index, and here it just finds no node selected, select a node and that that is what you see here. That is the route that is rendered in this. Now for other stuff, let's say new, okay, which is this one, it's gonna render a form with an input for the title and a text area for the body and a button to save and commit the form. So if we go to new node, as you see, it moved to new, and this is the title and the body. And if you move here, we can see an ID for a node, and that just takes the node from the database and shows it here. We can go here, use loader data. We're gonna talk about this, but just to demonstrate this, yeah, is the title and the body and the form to delete it, which is this button. Alright, so now let's talk about loading data, and I think it might be a good idea to start here. So let's go into the nodes, and as we can see, we have a type loader data, which is pretty much a list of nodes. And then we have this loader function, which is exported, and it says you need to be logged in for me to even try this. And then it gets the nodes from the database. If you want to see how this looks, it's just like a find many with using Prisma. Okay, and then it returns the data in a JSON format. This, if you're familiar with Next.js, this is like get server-side props, which fetches data from a DB and embeds it into your HTML. And now in the front end, this is still rendered on the server, but here's how we do it. You use that data with a hook, which is use loader data as loader data. Now the data is gonna be displayed in the sidebar with a map. That's pretty much it with loading data. Let's see another example in Node ID. So when you go to a specific route, then it takes that data from the DB and shows it to you. This is cached, but here's how it looks. And so we go to the loader, it takes the user. So if there's no node, throw a new response with not found, status 404. Now this is something cool. We're gonna talk about this. But if the node is found, it just returns that data, and then you use it with use loader data and you show it data.node and title, and pretty much that's it. Alright, so now let's talk about error handling, and here's why I like Remix a lot. So in this example, we have this node taking app and everything works well, but let's say I'm gonna just throw an error randomly because some things like that happen. So let's just throw an error. Alright, so this is how normally applications are gonna look when an error occurs. It's just like the user is gonna say like, okay, what is this? You know? But here's how Remix is cool. And let's just export a function error boundary. Alright. And let's see now. Hopefully this works. Ah, there we go. So now, so as you can see, just by exporting this, the whole error is now going to be scoped to this component and it's not going to fizzle out to the rest of the application. This is going to be a way better experience for the end user because he's going to see, oh, okay, so there's a problem here, but wait, can I still, oh, okay, I can still do this. I can still create a new node, but I can just go, I can just go here. Okay. It's an awesome experience and I love this concept. So we covered unexpected errors, which are pretty much when the database serves an error or there's something that you didn't predict will happen, and you catch all of those with the error boundary. But there are a lot of errors that are expected. Let's say if a node is not found, or if somebody tries to hack something or tries to delete something he's not allowed to delete. All of these things are expected, and let's see how we can handle that better with Remix. So let's say in this example where he creates a new node, a lot of times people do like DB attacks where they like do a select Steluță from DB, you know, and sometimes this is something that can break your DB and like hacker. So okay, and we have this, and this in some situations could break our DB. So let's do some preventive action for this kind of situation. Let's try it again. This is gonna be a mock-up demonstration, but here's how you would do it. So okay, so we have this. If the title is hacker attack, then we're just gonna throw a new response, which is like, nice try, Mr. Hacker. So let's try this out and see what happens. 403 forbidden, right? And this is where we have no handling of it thus far. And you see the response here is nice try, Mr. Hacker. And to show something better to the user, we have a export const catch boundary. Got use catch. All right, so now if and here just say code dot stars text. So again, forbidden, nice try, Mr. Hacker. And now you see that this is a way better error handling system. It doesn't break the rest of your application. It says, hey man, you cannot post something like this. Alright, so let's talk about styling. I had to switch the project because the Notes app was using Tailwind CSS and I cannot showcase the full possibilities with Remix using Tailwind. But this is a jokes app. You can find it on the Remix website. On their docs is like Remix jokes, and you can go and code that yourself. It's pretty cool. You know, you can log in and home and just see some jokes. It's pretty much, it's very similar to the other one. So if we go to the root, we can see that in Remix, to import styles in your application, you have this links function that you export, and you can just export an array with global styles, and you can see all the styles are in this folder, and you can take them. So if you see, it's like global CSS, this is for smallest devices and like general, and then this is for medium screens, and then this is for large screens. So this is cool. I didn't know actually that you could import a style based on the screen. So all this CSS is not requested from the server if the display is like a mobile screen. Now let's go to the jokes route, and here you see we get jokes CSS and we export that. And so this is only gonna be applied and requested from the server on the jokes route. This is also gonna be cached in the browser, so it's not gonna be requested on subsequent requests. Other pages, let's say login. If we look at login, this has its own CSS, and if we go to this page, the jokes CSS is not gonna be requested. So a lot of bandwidth is saved with this manner, because now if we look at login, we see this has completely different classes here. Now Remix also supports CSS in JS like Material UI or style components and all of that, but the issue with that is that all of the styles are rendered at runtime, which prevents a lot of Remix optimization. So the best kind of styling system to use with Remix is one that can export all of your styles in a CSS style sheet. So I would advise you to use that. So let's talk about performance. Now Remix was built with the edge and edge computing in mind, because nowadays there's a lot of evolution in computing power, but there's not much you can do about your user's network. So if the user's network is slow, then you could have like the most performant computers. It's still gonna take a lot for him. So this is the issue with classic React applications, because you send your whole bundle, you need to send to this user, and then he needs to run all of that code to generate your application on his laptop or his mobile phone. But because we have a lot of this performance at our disposal, we can deploy these really high performant servers near to the users, and when the user generates the request like, hey, give me your app, you can fetch all the data you need and then just generate the minimum HTML required for your user to send, and you're gonna send that page directly to him and some JavaScript with that, but like a minimal amount required for interaction. This is the power of Remix. You take all that computation and put it on servers near to the user, and on the network you just send the minimum required so that the user sees interactability and has the best user experience with your applications. Alright, so let's talk about deploying an application, and this is pretty easy, especially with the stack, because you get a lot of stuff done already for you. So if we look at the start sh, it's just like migrate the seed from the database, which is just a user and some nodes. Most of it is gonna be here, and like you see, allow public ports, and it's gonna just run the start sh. So if we just go fly deploy, I've deployed this already, so I think it's gonna be easier to do, but when you first deploy your application, it's gonna be a bit until it goes there. I'm gonna fast forward this, by the way. By the way, I've done this without the recording, but you should read the readme here, and to deploy manually you just need to add the secrets to your env, and that will do a secret here, like super duper secret, and that's gonna be in your env file. And then if you go to your fly.io account, you can go here, and as you can see right now it's deploying, and so we can look at some logs. Yeah, it's done deploying, so dismiss and overview. If we go, yeah, there we go. Yeah, just do it like that. So I don't have any notes, no notes yet, and like, and if I do like hacker attack and a bomb, no. Nice try, Mr. Hacker. Yeah, so you see, this is how you deploy it. And Fly is pretty nice with scaling your application. So if you read the docs, you can see that you can very easily add another image to another region, and you can also, for the same region, it also auto scales. So based on the number of requests it gets, it will auto scale your application if you set that, and you can set more instances for the same application. Also, let's see if we can see the logs for those requests. Yeah, there you go. Notes, new data. So let's talk about the community. The Remix community is also pretty nice and very welcoming, and you can like put a lot of questions. They have dedicated section to the stacks, to all of the places where you want to deploy, like AWS, Azure, Fly, yeah, everything. You have events, introductions, you have a lot of meetups here, and the community is very active. Now, Kent and the other founders have a lot of experience with their own communities, like the Kent C Dots community is pretty big, and so this one is very well managed, and they have dedicated developers to answer your questions at all times. All in all, my next video is gonna be on creating a brand new app using Remix, and it's gonna be a calorie counter, so I'll see you guys in that one. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it was informative. It was fun for me to do. You can expect a lot of videos like this in the future from me, so thanks.